Yes, Mr. Kesh, we've got another question in YouTube, this time from Diane from Ghana. It says, greetings and blessings to all souls from Seekers of Ghana. I wonder how to receive and give enough fields to get into the center of our being and stay in a state of non-tangible equality with soul.
Very easy. Understand your own strengths and your weaknesses and understand which one you need to move to reach that point. It's one of the easiest things to do. When you're strong, give. When you're weak, try to take what you need and no more. And then you'll find out you have find the balance.
Okay, very good. Thank you. In the live stream from Freed is a question. It kind of relates to a previous question, but we'll try it here. The powers that be try to get a grip of more and more parts of the physical life at this moment. Why are they allowed to do this? Or is this bringing new possibilities for us?
What are the powers to be? We allow them to become the powers. That's all. We allow them to become power. What are the powers?
From Antonio in the Q&A, who says, good morning, Mr. Kesh. Is it correct to say that we are not so evolved on this planet compared to other planets, but the quality of love is a quality of our planet and is very special, for it is embodied physically? Or is love a quality that all planets have? Antonio.
We are not behind and we are not ahead. We are in the cycle of our evolution. Many races never took to the physicality, and many races took only dimension of physicality, like man. But in that process, either one had to progress to know where to connect and how to be and how to create and the rest of it. Just because you don't have dimension of physicality doesn't mean that you don't have dimension of emotion. Emotion is a common denominator across all created things, even stone. And in so many ways, emotion is part of the conformation of the existence of the both soul of physicality and the soul of man. You can't have a reaction unless you find something to react to. You can't see a plane flying and you send the radar out unless it hits and it comes back to confirm its existence, and it gets another one to confirm or make a communication with. This is part of the life of the man. The knowledge has always been there. It's the man who has chosen to go the wrong way or to use the part which is suited. Any other question?
Another question in the Q&A, Mr. Kesh, from Drag Blavatsky. Hi, Mr. Kesh. It's Draghi from Macedonia, private knowledge seeker. I would like to ask you a question. After when I made the Cup of Life 1 and 2, I felt like my soul was traveling. I've had many interesting experiences and would like to share one with you. I've been to one place where there were hills. In one of the hills, I went inside and there was a book library. Should I believe what I saw? Is there a library or not? I really believe I was traveling with my soul and it was not a dream. Thank you.
The reality is that as we enhance our, as we use the ganses and we enhance our body and our soul with it, we will see, we'll come to understand that we have new capabilities. A new dimension of life opens to us. And in what we are receptive to, in what is strength and dimension, then it gives us manifestation of realities, or being able to see, or being able to travel. And it's not something new.
Antonio says, Mr. Kesh, is it that we are looking through colored glasses and cannot see clearly? And as we evolve, the fog becomes clearer.
I think it depends on which side of the glass you look at. But in general, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Depends on how we will negotiate with ourselves, how we try to understand the possibilities of the interaction, and to what extent we will accept this. Many of you will experience beautiful times in these enhancement units. But in the first few minutes, you will receive, you settle, and then you will not feel that again because the correction is done. Then it's left the dimension of the physicality to sort itself out. And many of you will feel this. You feel this beyond imagination of the man.
Okay, thank you. Let me see, there's a couple of other questions here. If you can handle some more, Mr. Kesh.
Yes, can you handle it? Yes, I hope.
From Farzam in our chat here, he says, thank you, Rick and Mr. Kesh. Can a Kesh absorbing field butterfly be used in clothing or in a jacket to help to absorb energy when needed?
Yes, yes.
Okay, very good.
One of the things you can do with what do you call the butterflies, they're in a sealed vacuum pack, or they're supposed to be, I hope. If they're not punctured or they're not touched, you can put these, what do you call, butterflies into a glass of water, or put two of them in the glass of water. Use one, the bigger one, the smaller one. Put them on either side of a glass. And then try to see the condition, the emotion, or whatever that you might want to see or you might feel in that cup. Because of the changes in the transportation of the fields from one butterfly to the other, you create a condition of absorbing emotions and fields and the strength and what do we call dimensions into the cup. The butterfly is put in there, now you use, has many applications. Many applications. If you have a, what do you call, emotional condition, put a butterfly on either side of your head, see how you feel. They are totally field replication that there's no matter state with it. But you have to understand how you use it and the way you use it. If you use the butterflies the correct way, you can even warm your body in the winter. Any other question?
Yes, we have a question that's in a foreign language. Just trying to see, it's Portuguese. And from Maria in the Q&A here in our Zoom chat. And she asks according to my English translation in Google, why do we live to 100 years old if our body is so fragile?
It's you who decided. There are people who are 100, you don't recognize them, they're 100. I would like to make a request from the Universal Council. We know that Universal Council is arranging to meet for the first time as a full council sometime in the near future. They have to announce it. Please, when you do so, make sure you give enough time to those who want to be with the council to add to your work for the time and the place. And secondly, please make sure that all organization is in your hand and not to the people logistically and what we call Men's Center. Those of you in the Universal Council who are planning for such a meeting for the first time ever, Universal Council members will meet. Try to understand you bring a new soul and dimension. You will meet on the appropriate time. The time and the place you have chosen is perfect for what is to come. But you have to understand that you meet as the heads of the humanity. And come to the, what you call your meeting, in with the emotion and with understanding that is there for your meeting to bring the change in. And for sure, the soul of Mitra will be with you, as your decisions will bring changes for the humanity. I hope the mankind will come to understand this. I have another request from the Universal Council. As I don't attend your meetings, that's yours, and we never interfere. Bring to your work the success, rapid success in Vienna talks between 5+1. As that will bring a new dimension to the whole of humanity. And in so many ways, mankind is ready for a change, but mankind has to make that move to bring that change. And that move needs to be done in Vienna. The way you wished for peace and achieved it, we would like to have your wishes for the end of conflict across this planet, which a 5+1 will bring it into a new dimension. We have made a request to make it 5+2. And the 2 is not just the condition of the end of physical atrocity of one on the other is, which is the Palestinian side is. But the tool is the symbolic of everything else that the man in the position of power and knowledge has done. In so many ways, the tool becomes the children who will be used. The 5+1 has to address it as the world leaders. Those who are involved in the drug trafficking, 5+1 has to find a solution. And I explained to you in many ways why it is. And the support of the Universal Council to be present is needed to receive the sort of the elevation of the position. Is not just trying to change sanctions on one nation or another. As I said to the Iranian leadership and to many people around us, it's the first time ever a nation has been sanctioned and its people have been put on the shortage of everything because of their knowledge. It's the first time we have seen the rest of the humanity has risen against a nation because they have access to a massive knowledge and they have gone forward very fast. And sanctions against knowledge is what we call the 5+1, where we change it. Knowledge in exchange for peace become the motive and the motion of the 5+2. We would like in the negotiations not only the condition of the sanction on a knowledgeable nation through his knowledge, but the sanction on totality of those who deal openly in harming the others to be sorted to. One of the biggest questions which sits in 5+1 is not the position of Iran, why they're so advanced and they're advancing so much, and how we can stop them has to be. It has to be how can we join them to learn more with you and with our knowledge to speed faster, to access more. And this is what is the job of the Universal Council, to enlighten, to elevate the soul of the negotiators to, with it, to become mature to understand. One of the main positions which we will see has to be taken is sanctions has to be on the nations who are involved in child trafficking. Children are the future of the man. And how come we sanction the nations for knowledge, but we don't sanction those who destroy the life of the soul of the youngsters? There is and there will be requests in all positions for, now that we have reached peace, to find a new way to handle atrocities of man on each other. Palestine, children, hunger, and peace. And this has to take priority, because once we learn this, we learn, now we become mature enough to become part of the universal community. The sanctions has to be on the nations who are recognized by United Nations to be abusive. Those individuals who are involved in massive works to harm the others, especially the children. There has to be not talk, but the reality. One of these talks will be open very directly in one way or another. We cannot reach peace if we don't find out that we have to forgive and forget for those who created animosity and atrocities. And then to feed it. So my wish, my request from the Universal Council is to elevate the members of the negotiating team on all sides, that they put away their dogmas and be there to create a new condition. What I've said to the Iranian leadership is very simple. We are the only nation who has been sanctioned for knowledge and technology, and then is formed in other shapes and forms. 80 million people suffer because their scientists are too advanced, and the others have no access to the knowledge. And as I said before, we open the doors of Iranian nuclear technology as is obsolete to us. We don't need it. But we still research because we need to understand the mysteries of the creation. And this process will carry on the same. This process has to carry on the same. We see different ways of approaching the present problems, but the 5+1 will be used to, in a way, open the eye of the man to many realities. Sanctions against knowledge, where we give knowledge in exchange for peace from the same nation which is sanctioned. We have to stop what has been some 40 years of imprisoning millions of people in Gaza strips and in the West Bank. We have to bring peace between all the nations through our knowledge and technology. What's the use bringing peace when our children suffer? And nations like Belgium traffic children heavily, and we put the center of European, what we call organization in Brussels. I put a question to one of the diplomats very recently. Are all the members of the European Council going there because of the reputation of the Belgian state? Why Germany and France and England put sanctions on Iran, but they do not put sanctions on the nation which the United Nations confirmed to be the center of the child trafficking? The European nation has to ask its members, are we sending our members to Brussels as they are part of the same game? Or if they are, why don't they stand up? We have a replacement in Strasbourg. We can move. These are the questions which needs to be answered in the coming time. And these are the questions and the elevation the Universal Council has to bring to the soul of the members of the 5+1. And with understanding this, we need to bring the change. Protection of our future generations as are born in both dimensions of the soul and physicality should not be jeopardized by those who are the centers of their abuse. Football coaches in Switzerland abusing children, the same the priest did in Austria 2005 allowed to be going on. We cannot allow what we call the states which are involved heavily in trafficking humanity across the borders. The question for us to solve in the next few months is by introducing what we call the flight system, that we do not allow these systems to be used for these kind of trafficking. We need in 5+1 to negotiate a new understanding of the border control, or accepting the totality that we bear the responsibility of totality of mankind. 5 minutes, 10 minutes from Johannesburg to London or to Paris or to wherever else should not become a tool of what I call child trafficking. We have to sort these at source, and that we have introduced the technology, and the guidance and the support of the Universal Council is sacrosanct. The responsibility sits within the soul of the Universal Council and the support. We start the negotiations sometime in the next 3 weeks in Vienna. But it has to become, in a way, 5+ peace. Not only for arms, but for our children who are being abused heavily by the traffickers. And they see it as their right. It needs to bring sanity to insanity and what I call mind of those who allow one and the sanction the others for the knowledge. I wish the Universal Council had understood our wishes, and we wish from this word from the mouth of the Creator. It's for those who understand to put in action that elevates the soul of the man. Thank you very much for the teaching of today. And we hope we meet each other next week. Thank you very much for your support and hard work. We can't hear you on the live stream, whatever you're talking about.
I'm sorry, my new microphone, I forgot to push the magic button there. So let me regroup what I was saying. As you can see in the ad here, this is for the Cosmic Consciousness in Disclosure event from 5devents.com. And it's from November 4th and November 7th. Mr. Cash will be one of the speakers. He'll be appearing virtually. And you can see him in the upper left-hand corner of the event here. And this will be happening, Mr. Cash will be speaking on November 6th. That's Saturday, November 6th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, which is 6 p.m. Central European time. And I believe you'll have an hour, Mr. Cash, in which to talk about your topic is space technologies made by the Kesh Foundation, I believe. Now, one other thing about this, normally this is a paid live stream event, and it's available for $99 US for 3 days. That'll catch all of the speakers in this event. So people may wish to do that, and you can find out more information about that at 5dstream.com. I'll put the link in the chat. And but also knowledge seekers can watch the presentation with Mr. Kesh streamed live at 10 o'clock Pacific or 6 p.m. Central European time on Saturday, November 6th in a Zoom meeting ID 883-346-1826. And it's free, and there's no password is required. The people from 5dstream.com are requesting and would prefer a donation from people that would help offset their costs, but apparently they're allowing it to be streamed into that Zoom meeting, which is kind of them. So is there anything else you'd like to add about that, Mr. Kesh?
Not really. We have participated in these conferences 2-3 times before. And it's just to enlighten with a new knowledge on what is to come. We have a small position to clarify. We're getting knowledge seekers asking us for a job in the Kesh Foundation, process factories or whatever, no knowledge of background. And they say, because we want to come to learn, or we want to be there because then we can do things. We, at this moment of time, we need people who can complete the process for us, not for us to start from zero. If you have a skill which is you want to offer and we look at and it can be done, yes, we'll be interested. The team of the Kesh Foundation for Research for Manufacturing will take it further, take it to the next level, to the next understanding and how it can be used. But in general, we are not looking for people to bring. There is something very important to all of us. Those of you who want to relocate, especially to the country of Austria. Austria is one of the most expensive nations on this planet to live in. Don't get fooled that I get paid 2,000 euro. If you are left a few cents in your pocket at the end of the month, you're lucky. And the essence of when we take people up, the essence of immigration, the sense of adapting to a new place, all has to be taken into consideration. We are not saying that we employ only Austrians or whatever. Even if you're a German, even if you're Norwich citizen, Czech Republic, 20 kilometers, 30 kilometers from the lanes, you still have to go through that process. It has to be understood that we take experts and we go through with them. We take people who we think they are adding to our strength, and then we support them for their relocation. We support them for setting up, bringing their families in. We already start doing this with a number of families who have joined the Keshe Foundation team in Austria. And you got to realize that if you're requesting to join the Keshe Foundation as knowledge seekers or for work, you go through the system of the Austrian process of work. We have to get you a work permit. We have to get you the acceptance of the job. And then the regulation here dictates what we pay as salaries and how it can be fitted in. And we see this in number of knowledge seekers contacting us. Coming to Austria is not just being part of in the factory. Everything else has to be considered. And you enter one of the most expensive nations on this planet to live in. And the salaries, don't get fooled by it, is very high. But the expenses are very high as well. Most probably the highest on this planet at this moment. So if you apply or you want to work or have this skill, and if it's us to fit in without a structure, we help you. We do everything possible, but our team has to recognize your capability and how you fit into us. We have moved a number of families at the moment into the Keshe Foundation structure of the lanes, but we look after everything till they settle down. From their housing, their transport, everything else we can do. And there is a limitation in what we can put, but you have to understand, again, don't expect I'm coming there to work free or whatever. If you don't have the skill we want, you're coming free, then becomes a burden on you and a problem for us. We cannot employ people with the rules and regulations free for nothing. And how come they are working for nothing? Where is their income coming from? Where is everything else we have to answer? So please understand this and try to be logical in trying to be part of the workforce in Austria for the Keshe Foundation. Thank you very much. Shall we call it a day? Rick, are you still with us?
Yes, hello, Mr. Keshe. Is there anything else that we need to say or
Nope.
Before we wrap up here? There is the testimonials group on Monday at 8 p.m. Central European time that people can do a show and tell of their experiences with the plasma technology. It'd be great to see some new faces there that would like to explain what they experienced with their products and experiments and that kind of thing. So people are welcome to attend that. Okay, I'll play a couple of the promotional videos to go out with, and I thank everybody for attending today's 405th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, November 4th, 2021. And of course, thank you, Mr. Kesh, once again for being there for us for another Knowledge Seekers Workshop here. Okay.